Hey guys, you're listening to the Energy of the Untamed Heart podcast, where we talk about uncaging your divinely gifted wild heart to be as free and expansive as you were born to be. My goal is to use our stories, guest interviews, and your questions to tease out what has been keeping your wild heart under wraps. I'm your host, Mielle Fox, and together we will shatter the myths of our old stories to set our wild heart free. So thanks for choosing you and showing up today. Sometimes you just meet the most amazing people. I met Anne-Marie a few years ago taking a numerology course. At the time, she was a business coach, and she was an edgy girl, man. She was a type A edgy girl. We've each gone our separate ways, but we reconnect because we're in communal groups, so to speak, on social media. When I started this podcast, I reached out and I said, Anne-Marie, I'd really love for you to come on and have a chat with me because she's just an amazing human being. So she did. And here's where we are. I'll give you a little heads up on who and what Anne-Marie McKenzie is all about. Anne-Marie is a soulful business strategist who empowers soulpreneurs to align with their purpose, amplify their power, and activate their prosperity. She's a certified advanced numerology queen, so true, speaker, spiritual teacher, and heart-centered leader. She weaves the magical into the practical to elevate consciousness. Anne-Marie is on a mission to support psychic sensitives, creatives, and healers to integrate the intelligence of their hearts, reclaim their energetic sovereignty, and become the inner authority of a handcrafted life and a business they love. She's the creatrix of the Conscious Business Immersion Collective, Spirit of Your Business VIP Activation Days, the Soulful Planner, and Attracting Your Soulmate Clients workshops. I'm so excited. You got to dive in. You got to hear this one.
Thanks for inviting me to have this conversation. This is awesome. Yeah. It's been on my radar for a while.
I love it. And it's time when it's time. So it's all good. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm sort of in newbie land, but it's okay. Got to put your toe in the water if you want to do anything. So here we go. All right, everybody. So here you are. You're back at Energy of the Untamed Heart podcast. And my lovely guest today is Anne-Marie McKenzie. She is a beautiful, beautiful soul business coaching entrepreneur and numerologist. She has recently put together, and I'm so excited to get on Amazon, plug, as soon as I get off of this podcast, so I can order my 2024 Soulful Business Planner for myself. And with that, I'm going to have you jump right in, Anne-Marie, and we'll just talk. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you for immediately talking about the Soulful Planner. It has been a couple years in the making, and today I'm going to unravel the book myself and see it for like the first time, and I'm really excited about it. I know I'm gonna cry. I'm crying just thinking about it. I'm like, I did this thing, and this is the first year that it's actually coming out in print. I am really excited about it. Yeah,
it's very exciting. And the piece that I think is the most exciting, don't get me wrong, pulling the cellophane away and hearing crinkle, crinkle and turning the pages and realizing that, oh my gosh, you've actually physically birthed an idea into an amazingness of beauty and helpfulness that people who like to have a planner, need to have a planner, and perhaps have a little bit of a soulful spiritual lean so that they have a little bit of assistance with tapping into their inner core. This is perfect. I mean, it's absolutely perfect. But what I really want to honor is your awareness that, wow, I had this idea. I had this thing that was speaking to me that really needed to come out. And it took me 2 full years of baby steps and following breadcrumbs and hearing my heart and making edits to create the magic of what is now available to both US and Canadians. So no excuses, listeners, as to how and why can you get this. It'll be in the show notes, so no worries. But yeah, you know, a lot of people think this rise to whatever you want to call it, rise to whatever level of entrepreneurship or business growth you desire, rise to whatever level of personal transformation and awareness you choose for yourself, that it's like a light switch. It's like overnight, or, oh, you know, I thought of that last week and, oh, guess what? I'm on Amazon this week. No. So share with us, if you would, how has your journey, the inspiration, the little messages that have come through for you gone from, yep, here's a general direction to, I have a passion in my heart that just needs to be heard. I need to get this out there.
Mm. Well, I want to be truthful. The reason why it was birthed is because I began this business in 2015 as a desire map facilitator, and there was a desire map planner. And this workshop, book, course really supported me to anchor into and embody who it is that I am, and my emotional intelligence and heart intelligence, my heart compass, and my own personal values to a much higher degree than I ever had before in my life. And then one day it no longer existed. I remember texting Danielle, please don't do this. This has been my beautiful system and structure for years, and I don't know how to live without it. And she said, yes, you do, and you will figure it out. And another friend at the same time was building a business, and she had created a planner for her community to edit it. Literally, the foundation of that product was take this framework and make it your own. So I invested in that and made my own magic with it that works for me. So I took all of the things that I loved. I love practicing gratitude every single day. I love connecting to my heart compass every single day and my values. I really need to focus my thoughts. In numerology, I'm a ruling number 3 and I have double 9. So I'm very heady. So it's important for me to have my mind and my heart and my inspired action all ready to calibrate together before I actually start writing down my to-do list. So I created something that works for me. And in Conscious Business Immersion, which is one of the programs that I offer, we were building these conscious business plans. And then when it came to that blueprint of what does your business look like, I thought, well, I should just introduce them to this planner that I've created, this Soulful Planner. And then I wove in numerology for myself, but I didn't initially for my clients. And then I would say things like, well, today's a 6 energy day, so it's an amazing day to have conversations with soul family. So that's why I said yes to interviews with Miel on her podcast on this day, because it makes sense. It's going to create harmony in my business and in my life and in our relationship. And they'd go, wait. How do you know it's a 6 energy day? How do we figure that out? What does all of this mean? And so my clients just naturally started asking me these questions about numerology. And I thought, why didn't I just put that in there for them? And so I did. So the second version of it was including that. And then I also decided to really just niche down and own that I work with entrepreneurs. I work with spiritual entrepreneurs, the psychics, the creatives, the empaths, the healers, the coaches, and we need that conscious business planning, those soulful strategic plans woven into everything that we do. And so this is the first year where I've mashed it all up, and I've decided that it needs to be put into print, and it's exciting and scary and expansive, and it's just so many things all woven into one. Yeah.
I love it. I think it's so beautiful because I think, and I hope I'm not offending too many folks out there, but I'm just going to say it because you know how I am. I just say exactly what comes through. There's not a lot of filters some days, but that is what it is I think we have many, many phenomenally talented, conscious business leaders who want to tap in a little more to their spiritual self. But somehow, for many, until more recently, and certainly by using something like your Soulful Planner, it will integrate the two pieces more succinctly, is oftentimes I hear from people or I have conversation with people, and there's a little bit of a disconnect, as in they say, yes, I'm a conscious business entrepreneur and I have this business in XYZ, and this is what my service is, and this is what I believe in. And then they have this almost alter side to themselves that is this, and I have a very strong spiritual lean because I believe X, Y, and Z for myself. And somehow the two pieces, and for those who can't see, I've got my fingers linked together, the two pieces are almost separate. And the reality is, how could it possibly be? Because in order for your conscious business to really take itself abundantly and expansively forward for the collective, for whoever needs whatever service it is that one is providing, in order for that to be as beautiful and joyful and expansive as it can possibly be, it needs to be in alignment with the creator's soul being.
Yeah.
And so not to have a disconnect and to not have that true alignment between what do I do in my business and what do I do in my personal life, as if they're two separate things. They're really kind of not, because how you show up to your business is how your business will present. If you don't show up in your truth, if you don't show up in your true sovereignty and your integrity, somewhere you might fake it for a little bit, but sooner or later it's coming out, and it cannot grow as naturally, organically, and beautifully as if you show up within yourself with your truth, true to your heart, true to your higher self, as you bring your business forward. So I love that you've brought it all together.
Yeah, it's more than a scheduler, it's an energetic management system, which is very new to many people. They may not understand what that is, but it's exactly what you said, that it's all energy. The life and the business is not separate. Yes, we do get to set boundaries within the two, between life and business, absolutely. But energetically, how we show up in our life mirrors in our business, and how we show up in our business mirrors in our life. So it is all woven together. And that's why I've created the 5 elements of life, but 5 elements of business as well. And it's together on the same page. When you're creating, goals that are about being open to living soulfully, it's reflecting on your life and your business. Yes, it's about revenue generation, but it's also about soul expression. Yes, it's about our systems and admin, but it's also about our wealth being. And probably our wealth being needs to be number 1, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And so when we're looking at our time and our energy and our focus and what it is that we're birthing and bringing to the world, and this energy that we're carrying, it is all one. It's all woven together. Absolutely. And I've had SoulMate clients that have worked with me for years who have said, oh, I want to keep them separate, or they'll be building their business on the side and they have a job, and they'll say, well, I have one for my job and I have one for my business. Say, okay, how's that going for you? They say, it's exhausting. I'm like, because you're not looking at the bigger picture. Because you're going to have weeks in your job, in your career, where you're required to put more energy and effort in. And without seeing that and looking at that, and then over here, having this schedule, having this plan, having this soulful strategy, the two of them aren't working together because you don't have the energetic capacity for both. So it's about learning how to manage what's going to work for us and what's not. And most importantly, and you've already mentioned it, keeping heart over hustle.
I love that phrase. There's so many of us over hustle. There are many who hustle over heart. And that the hustle in itself will be a burnout, to put it simply. You simply can't hustle enough to fulfill all the needs that your soul would love for you to experience. So if one does not place heart over hustle, again, will it work for a while? Yeah, probably. There's plenty of examples out there. But when you really pare it down to, I guess it also really pairs down to me for a soulful, conscious business leader, builder, entrepreneur. You're not out there shuffling hamburgers. You're out there because the product and service that you desire, however that is presented, and granted, you could be creating a product, pick it, muffins, cheesecake, cookies. Can you see the trend of where my mind is going? But right, who wouldn't want a cookie on a cold day? However, if your thrust behind your business, your purpose-driven event is something that is spiritually led, is something connected to the heart, is something related to how do we really get back in touch with who we were put on this earth to be, regardless of what your gift wrap is. I don't really care how you're gift wrapped. Your soul is your soul. Your essence is your essence. Your purpose on this earth is to show up and be who you are and be you and step forward in the most beautiful and abundant way that you can. I find it fascinating that the idea of hustle over heart doesn't strike the business builder or the business owner as, oh, I could be so much more available for myself and for others if I were to incorporate the soulful piece into everything that I do and realize that who I am and what I do as my business or what I share as my business are not two separate entities, that they're actually dance partners. One will lead, one will follow, and then maybe that shift will change and the follower will be the leader will be the follower. But in order to be dancing the same dance and not one's doing the waltz and one's doing hip hop, there needs to be that communication. So I love that you've brought this together. I also love that you've mentioned it's tough and you have the awareness that not everybody's going to drop their day job and jump into the pool of entrepreneurship, so that you've created two separate available planners to help those two entities, let's call it.
It's all one. Yeah, it's when I do the trainings and the master classes and the workshops, that's when I'm really supporting people to understand that no, this book is the one book that you can use, the one book that you need, the one we don't have to have, oh, here's a schedule over here for my life and my kids and my family, and then one for my day job and one for this side hustle that I'm building. That it can and is meant to be this space where we keep it all together. And it allows us to, again, that's that 399 energy in me, to see the bigger picture, to be able to see that forest among the trees. Like, if I'm not feeling well, if I'm not showing up as that best, highest, most authentic version of myself, if I'm tired, if I'm getting exhausted, what's the reason behind it? It's all there in front of you. If there's guilt showing up that you're not spending enough time in your relationships, you can easily see it's because I've been working a lot. So what can I do to shift? What small change can I make? Where can I create some space for something that truly does matter? That's just as important as putting your Soulful Planner on Amazon for the first time. This week's a perfect example. There's a lot involved in this, especially when it's your first time. I've been learning how to work with KDP, been learning how to work in that publishing world, how to work with an artist, an editor. The marketing pieces are a little bit different. There's a lot of moving parts for me to figure out. And I'm blessed to have a team. I'm blessed to work with other people. I can't control everything though. Like, my list is my list, and these are the things I need to do. And one of my team members that I really wanted to rely on this week wasn't available. And these were things that were outside of both of our control. And probably like 10 years ago, Anne-Marie as a leader would have showed up very differently than I did this week, and wouldn't have as much compassion as I did this week. Would have hustled her ass off in order to not like to do my job, but to also do the other person's job. and to get it done with no regard to how it was feeling as I was going through that process. And so I didn't always get the outcomes that I desired because I was in the energy of hustle. I was in the energy, and I'm not saying that we don't hustle. We hustle. I hustle. But I'm hustling with my heart when I have those periods of time in my business. And I looked at what needed to be done this week, and I just reevaluated things. And I showed up for this person as a heart conscious leader. I could hear the guilt. I could hear it in their voice that they felt awful, that they weren't going to be able to contribute. And my response to them was, your priority is you and your own well-being, and then that of your families. And so I want you to take care of those things first. And if there ends up being space where you can help and you can contribute, I will say yes to it, but not if I can see that you're doing at the detriment of your own well-being. And she just had tears and said, thank you. I just appreciate you so much. And I love that we have this relationship, and I love that this is how we operate together. And I said, go take care of yourself. And I'm going to check in on you in a couple hours and make sure that you're okay. And if you need, call me. I will hold space for you. And she said, oh, you're so busy. I said, call me. I will hold space for you because it's more important than what's on my to-do list. Heart over hustle, that compassion, that empathy, that ability to transmute the low vibrational energies into something much bigger, much greater, that feels a lot better, right?
It feels a lot better. And what is such a take home is you make that choice. You said, had you spoken to the Anne-Marie 10 years ago, she wouldn't have been in a position to know what Anne-Marie now knows, and the results would have been very different. And so to give yourself the spaciousness to learn the lessons as you go through, I think is really important, as well as to acknowledge that these are choices. When your coworker, teammate said, I can't do this, there you are at the crossroads. I have two ways I can look at this problem. I can bull and jam it and get her done, and so be it, and maybe carry a little bit of resentment or whatever about the whole thing, or I can choose a different path and be open and spacious to see what else might I be able to receive that will bring benefit to all parties involved. So kudos to you. Let me ask you this. With this planner, I see that you are also offering a supportive realm for people, because I will be the number one person to tell you I'm the queen of unopened journals. I am the queen of multiple beautiful planners that look so lovely, and they sit on the desk and they maybe have 2 pages written in them, and then that is it. And so I was so excited to
do not
see.
purchase the daily.
Right. Do not
Do
purchase
not
the
purchase the
daily.
No,
Right.
no.
Followed by, it's very unique and different that you are offering a supportive environment through class, workshop, mastermind, whatever phrase one puts to this, to be able to help people work their way through this planner. Can you share a little bit of that with us?
Absolutely. I created this for my already existing community, first and foremost. So what's incredible about it is it was birthed because of a request of SoulMate clients, multiple. And then it's out into the world because of a request of a SoulMate client. They said, you're going to like sell this to other people, right? And I thought, why didn't I think of that? And she said, you really need to, because this is brilliant. So it came from this place of community and this tool to support my already existing community. And then to bring it out into the world meant that many people won't understand this process. Many people aren't going to understand this system, this structure. So many people are emotionally illiterate. So to ask themselves on a daily basis, what's your heart compass? AKA, what where do you want your intuition to guide you? And what's the energy of today? And so if you're not operating at a place that you want to be, what's happening in the collective energetically that you're not aligning to or calibrating to, or maybe you're doing so on that lower vibration. So there's a lot of these educational pieces that you're right, it won't make sense. And so generosity is always a part of my soulful strategic plan. And so I decided to just add multiple master classes this year for free. So I invite people in to purchase the digital planner, and that's where the workshops and the trainings are involved as well. And that's only $44. So for $44, you're getting how to use the planner, that training. I just did another master class this week on the conscious business planning. We spent 2 hours together really honing in on the foundational pieces that we need in 2024 to reclaim the power of infinite abundance, which is aligned with that 8 energy year. So having that as a direction, many of the people that I work with are people that have too many ideas, and it shows up as a problem. You can relate. I know you can. And
I'm giggling over here because I'm like,
knowing,
oh, I'm the idea girl. I have so many ideas. And then I just sort of look at them all like, oh, huh. All right. Well, since I don't know what to do and where to go, maybe I just won't initiate any of them, said the ruling number 7 speaking, right?
Yeah,
At which point I look at my furry little dog and say, time for us to go outside and take a walk so we can like shuffle things up a little bit so I can get out of my head and try to get into a different space. So I love that there is support and guidance for the folks who may not currently be involved in your community. I think that's phenomenal. And when you say digital download, so let me make sure I'm understanding clearly for the listeners. Capacity to purchase hard copy scheduler planner via Amazon, Canadian, US. Then if you look at that and say, holy smokes, I don't even know where I'm going with this, they have the capacity to engage in the $44 version of, let me show you how this works. Am I understanding correctly?
Yes. Within those workshops and trainings, I just gave people both the digital weekly and daily planner. So you can download both of them digitally. You can upload them to your favorite tablet, upload them to your phone if you want, especially if you're a daily person. It's a big book. And if you're somebody that's on the go or likes to still implement something like this when they're on vacation, when they're traveling for work, or when they're going to a coffee shop for the day, so then you still have the ability to connect to everything that's in that book, but also to see both of them and to play with them to know which one's a better fit for you. The daily is a commitment. I need the structure of the daily. I need it. I've always been a daily person. I have the arrow of the planner, 1, 2, 3. I have the arrow of activity, 7, 8, 9. I need that structure. But for a lot of people, it could be overwhelming. For somebody who has a job it's the same every day, but they're building a side hustle and they want it for that reason, the daily might be too much. Somebody that's brand new to my world, the weekly is great. But if you're somebody who's already a planner and always has used a scheduler and has really stuck with it, then really look at the daily. So it gives people that opportunity to play before they purchase, go through the trainings and go through the workshops to understand the tool and the system and the structure before actually getting that physical book to pen to paper and start casting some spells, as I say.
It's so needed. And what I really admire and honor about you having this idea, and I think you say it's been 2 years, but I personally believe, as I know you do, things occur when they're meant to occur. The timing is when it's meant to be. And moving into 2024, there is such a large surge in the last 1 to 2 years of business entrepreneurs in the spiritual and healing realms, that the need for this integrative approach to combine marketing, business, entrepreneurship, and the spiritual piece is critical. And for a second, I just want to address what is so kind of like the white elephant in the room that people don't like to talk about. It's almost as if the conversation is, if you happen to be spiritually inclined, if you are speaking of personal transformation, if you offer a product or service that is really helping somebody to tap back on into their truth and their heart space and really understand why are they here and who are they and all those things, it's almost has been until recently considered like, oh, well, don't, God forbid, don't ask for money for that. And my take on that is, everybody has to eat. Everybody in a human form has to live somewhere. And it's an exchange of energy. It is an energetic exchange of, I provide service product and you receive service product. It would be like saying you think you're going to have a house, a car, a vehicle, and food and not exchange something to receive that. That doesn't make any sense to us as a human. So why is it that we assume the exchange of services to help you tap into the most beautiful part of your being and live in your most beautiful, joyful, and expansive and abundant self should be handled any differently? And so I love that you have created the structure to help people really understand we're not talking nickels and dimes for the sake of nickels and dimes. We are talking about energetic exchange for a value of a service. And as such, a value of something means something. You know, a millennia ago, it was pigs, goats, and chickens. Okay, now it's dollar bills. Whatever, it's still an exchange of services and product. And I just find it so strange to me that there's this concept that, oh, if you're a healer, you shouldn't be paid. And that doesn't make sense to me. So I love that you are gently and compassionately bringing forward tools and systems that can help the entrepreneurs who have that conscious mindset to bring their product and service forward in a way that is supportive, that is true, that is heartfelt, but at the same time is very clear in expressing and owning that, yes, it's a business, and yes, it needs to generate some kind of revenue, because you still have to pay for software and computers and spaces and places and all of the things. And
well,
honestly,
Neil, you and I both know that it's, the matrix is created by design. It's created this way on purpose to keep us disconnected from our truth, our true essence of who it is that we are, and keep us disconnected from the infinite abundance that is our birthright. It's by design, it's on purpose. And I have spoken about this so many times. I've dipped in and out of work with nonprofits before. Why does somebody who's the CEO of a soft drink company that causes diabetes, gut issues, etc., why do they deserve to make high six, sometimes even seven figures, and the executive director of a nonprofit that truly is here to be of service get paid peanuts?
yes,
Peanuts in comparison to, again, I'll say it again, it's by design. I mean, they burned witches at the stake for a reason, because here, take this herb, it's medicine, it will heal you, doesn't make money for the people who are hoarding the abundance. So we are here to shift that. We are here to shift that energy, to shift that belief, to shift that low vibrational thought and thinking, to shift those feelings, the shame. I'm not a religious person. I'm somebody who has studied a lot of different religions in my younger years. And even though I'm not connected to any particular religion, I can respect that they weren't always paid very well for what it is that they did. And I may disagree with the philosophies, but the people that were showing up and holding service on Sunday, they created real community. They supported people to feel a lot better about themselves. They planted some seeds of faith. They planted some seeds of there is a higher power, there is a higher good out there that we get to connect to outside of ourselves. There is a lot of really good pieces. There's a lot of not great pieces, but there is a lot of really good pieces, and there's a lot of good people out there that would do that, and they are never paid very well. And then the ones that do get paid very well are not in integrity. We can see that. We can see that they're taking from their people to benefit for themselves. It's not in integrity. And so I do see this, yes, as a tool for my community, but I see this as an energetic management system that supports us in raising and shifting our vibration that will contribute to the collective consciousness.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it is a programmed piece of the matrix, and we could sit all day long and complain about it. But the reality is, how do you change it? Well, you almost get better at the game than the game. You develop and create wealth and abundance with integrity so that you can move that forward into the world and build more wealth and abundance with integrity. So rather than sit back and boo-hoo it, I, again, congratulate and give you honor and kudos for saying, heck no, I'm not going to just sit here while you guys all decide how it's going to work. I'm going to be an integrative piece of the puzzle here to help move the collective forward. And I love it. I love it.
There's so much magic that was taken away from us. There's so much ancient knowledge and wisdom that is on purpose hidden from us, and it is used to manipulate and control. One of the reasons that I've gotten better at predictions and channeling predictions is because I've learned to tap into the energies that we are all playing with. I know that this is when something is going to potentially happen, and I can determine that based on the energy. So if that system is being used to manipulate and control, and then we receive that knowledge, can we not use it to manipulate and control as well with a higher good, with integrity, with compassion, with love, right? With collaboration.
Absolutely.
With wealth.
Yes.
And from this place of the reason why more abundance is coming through for me is because the more I have, the more I can give.
Absolutely.
I can't keep giving unless I take care of myself. As somebody who's a recovering A-type, it took me a long time to understand this. A very long time, again, to put my heart over hustle, because I would just keep giving. And that's also, again, why I call it an energetic management system. Knowing all of this that's at play for us supports us in that, and I don't love the word manipulation, but the transformation of that energy. One of my favorite spiritual teachers, Dolores Cannon, she shares, and so many people come to us, right, Miel, that they want to know what their purpose is. We all want to know what our purpose is. And Dolores says, we all have one purpose. So I leaned in, and she said, it's to learn how to transmute energy, period. That's what we all get to do in the collective together. And there's layers and layers and layers of purpose. But when we start to look at our own energetic code in numerology, we can see the low vibrational pieces of ourselves in our energetic code. As somebody who's a ruling number 3, for example, scarcity. I've had a scarcity mindset throughout my life. There's not enough. I'm not enough. I've transmuted that. I do believe that the Soulful Planner is a reflection of that. No, I'm enough. There is enough. You are enough. We are enough. There's enough in the world. And we're going to reclaim that. We're going to reclaim that power of infinite abundance. So it is very much intentional. It is very much purposeful with why I've created what it is that I've created. I love that we talk about this every month in my Conscious Business Collective. I love that it's woven into every program and every offering. I love that people who come for those one-off numerology readings, they have this opportunity to take that information and actually embody it and anchor it in somewhere as well, rather than having this one-off bit of information that we kind of remember, but not really. And we pick up some pieces, and I know I'm guilty of that. Sometimes I had an Akashic record reading recently, and still the one thing I remember from it was that I'm not living up to my full potential. Like, why is it that we take the one piece of not so great information and we roll with it? I'm like, I'm not living up to my full potential. She also said so many incredible things like, you are a channeler. I don't know if you've accepted this. I don't know if you've owned it, but you are. And yes, you know that you're psychic. Your psychic gifts have come online. They are skyrocketing right now, and they are going to keep amplifying. There was all this amazing, juicy goodness, but the one thing I remembered is I'm not living up to my
You're
full
not
potential.
living
I'm
up to
only
my
at like
potential.
40%. Yeah, I'm like, for real. So I love that I have this business, this ability to say, hey, this is your personal energy forecast. This is your divine numerology blueprint. But here's a tool. Here's something that if you commit to it, and I do think that, yes, it's a commitment and it does take devotion and it does take time, but not a lot of time. When you first start playing with scheduling tools like this, it might look like, yeah, a couple of hours to map out the year, a couple hours to map out the season, maybe an hour or two per month, maybe an hour per week. And then every day you're looking at like 10 to 15 minutes. But the more you keep playing with it and the more that you devote yourself to this and devote yourself to managing your own energy as a creative, as a psychic, as a spiritual entrepreneur, that it gets easier. Like anything, it's like exercising a muscle. It gets a lot easier and it supports you. And again, having that compass for your decisions. For so many people in 2023, it was so disruptive, right? That energy was very disruptive, and it pushed a lot of us past our growth edge. And we needed to make a lot of decisions, and a lot of decisions that were based on experiences and situations that were happening to us that were outside of our control. And for somebody who's highly sensitive, it's draining. It's absolutely draining. But to have a support system and a tool to empower ourselves, it does make it a lot easier. And that's what I want for everybody, is not only to really honor their soul contract in this lifetime and step into their purpose and amplify their gifts and activate divine prosperity, but I want it to be easier. I want
Easy
it
is
to
always
create
good.
yeah,
Right.
and I want us to have more fun. Because if it's not fun, if you're not having fun doing it, what's the point? And so there needs to be joy in it. And yes, eventually, I want it to create a higher level of sovereignty, and I want it to create a higher level of abundance. Because again, the more we have, the more we can give. And all of that creates these beautiful, amazing shifts in our own personal life. It has that ripple effect to our soulmate clients. It has a ripple effect to our families, to our communities, and then eventually out into the world, to the collective consciousness. So for anybody who thinks, well, it's just little old me, and what could I possibly do? This will change that.
It absolutely will. And my perspective is, it seems so vast and so far to say, oh, I'm changing the collective. But when you bring it back down to reality of maybe I'm making a shift and a change one heart at a time, it makes it so much more digestible. And to have something like this planner available takes away a lot of the chaos that can go on for those of us that know we have something to do, something to bring, something to share, but we don't quite have a system to pull all of the things together into a cohesive
Yeah.
direction and strategy. So I love that you have created this and it's now birthed into the world and it's available on Amazon, and you've got a supportive course available. And I will gather all the links from you and put them in the show notes so that folks can reach out and grab their either daily copy or weekly copy or digital copy and all the things. And I just so appreciate your time today. Thank you for coming on. Beautiful. Oh my gosh, that was spectacular as always. And so much gratitude for Anne Marie and her dedication to making resources to help the conscious business builder lead with heart over hustle. You can find all the goodies and links in the show notes. I'd love to hear your feedback on today's episode, so if you'd be kind enough to leave a review, that would be super helpful in boosting the podcast so others can find it too. Feel free to tag a friend and share the episode out as well. If you want to be sure to receive notifications of new releases, subscribe on your listening platform. And of course, you can follow and find me in all the spaces and places, including Facebook and Instagram at Mielle Fox, or on the website at www.foxdenenergetics.com. Additionally, I'm going to be starting up our free monthly virtual meetup called Unconditionally You, where we discuss how we can show up without judgment, with compassion for ourselves and others. There's a sign-up link for that. Feel free to click on that in the show notes as well, so that you'll receive notification of the date of the meetup. As always, I thank you so much for showing up, sharing, and caring, and as always, sending you so much love. See you soon. Thanks.